What is up, everybody? Welcome to the World of Concacaf podcast. I'm Eric Schmitz.
I'm Jonathan Slape.
And I'm Donald Wine.
And we're back. It's been a minute, but we're back. We appreciate everyone who's, sticks with us. It's been a few months, but it's 2025 now. And, you guys want to talk? You want us to talk? We're here to
It's
talk.
a Gold Cup year.
It is a Gold Cup year. It's also a Nations League year. Yes, let's not bury the lead here. Is it CONCACAF Nations League year? We are a mere couple months away from the return of the CONCACAF Nations League finals, which will be at SoFi Stadium if it is still feasible. I don't know right now. But hope everyone had a great holidays. Hope everyone is excited for a new year of soccer. We wanted to just kind of do like a quick news desk because there's been some crazy stuff happening in CONCACAF, and we wanted to do some postcards to the pod, do some listener questions. So we'll do that. We'll just do a quick, get back into it kind of thing, and get back on the road.
It's preseason for us, like MLS. So we got to kind of, get
this
our conditioning.
This is our January camp.
Our January camp.
Yeah, this is going to be a camp cupcake of an episode.
I feel like a cupcake after the last month or so.
I have a cupcake, or at least I had one. So
you didn't bring enough for everybody?
No, no, I didn't. Sorry.
You can mail me mine in a thin white envelope.
Yeah. Manila?
That's it. No, I just want like I want you to fit it in a thin, like, business envelope. I'd prefer the window so I can see the frosting.
You're right. I'll see what I can do.
You might want to overnight it so it keeps. All right, let's get into the news wire. There's some wild stuff going on, and I think the first thing is just like things circling back around. We talk about all these ridiculous things in CONCACAF, and sometimes the story continues. So you might remember from a couple of years ago, there is a American former youth national team player, Matko Miljevic, who was kicked off FC Montreal. I think it was, I guess it was CF Montreal.
CF Montreal, but it was like last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
this past season.
Yeah,
it was in 2023.
Which
September.
So I think we found out about it like January-ish of like 24. I don't know. Yeah. Time's a flat circle anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So to catch you up, Matko Miljevic had some appearances with the U.S. youth national teams. He is an American. He's got Argentinian roots as well. He was playing with MLS's Montreal club, and during Leagues Cup wasn't getting enough playing time and decided to go play in an amateur league in Quebec. And the funny part is he was playing like with his buddy's team, and they weren't even like good. I
think we also got to mention he was playing under a fake name.
He was playing under a fake name. But they figured out it was him. He was playing under a fake name, and his team wasn't even winning. They finished like 8th out of 9 in the league. But anyways, he got into a fight in this league and got kicked out of the league. And they're like, wait a minute. This guy that plays in the MLS was playing in our league and just got kicked out. It's against your contract to play soccer outside of your team stuff. So Matko's contract got terminated for, quote, conduct detrimental to the league in September of 2023. He ended up resurfacing with Newell's Old Boys in Argentina. They're in the first division there. He ended up getting a lot of playing time, had a pretty solid season, and turns out Mauricio Pochettino, new U.S. men's national team coach, happened to watch him play recently, scored a goal in a game that Poch was at, and Miljevic is now called into the U.S. men's national team camp, ready to get his first senior cap. Did anyone possibly see this coming, that he would be back in the conversation?
So you buried a couple of things, and so let me include some details that provide a little more context to why this is
please do.
so confusing and so weird. So one, Newell's Old Boys is not just some random run-of-the-mill team. They are probably I mean, after Boca Juniors and River Plate, they are probably one of the most famous clubs in all of South America. Leo Messi, that is his boyhood club. It is also Pochettino's boyhood club that they played at. So this is no slouch of a team. Also, related to that is that if you look at the U.S. men's national team roster, you see Miljevic is listed as unattached because he was cut from Newell's Old Boys after, like, I guess they decided he was on loan there or something.
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
on loan, and they decided not to go through with the
They decided not
transfer.
to, and so he crashed out in a couple of games after being subbed off in the locker room to the point where the team was like, "Yeah, I think we're good with the Miljevic experiment." So that is the reason why he's unattached. So even after all of that, Pochettino probably saw him at his peak where he was like starting regularly, and like you said, he scored a couple goals, and Pochettino called him in based on that. Not, I guess, I don't know if he, I hope he knew. Well, I guess US Soccer did because he's listed as unattached, but the fact that he crashed out immediately afterwards and now does not have a club to play for,
Yeah.
this is now a chance for him to find a club by being on the national team.
Well, reportedly, he's planning to sign with another club in Argentina, Huracan. So he may have something lined up already, but currently he doesn't have anything. He's not training except with the U.S. men's national team. So he is the one non-MLS player participating in this January camp.
I'm still confused at it.
Like,
also, let's be clear. He didn't get in a fight with someone. He did the like bitch ass move of he spit on someone and then threw a punch. So like, let's not like. I don't think it was like he spit on a guy. Like,
well, mind you, this is Quebec, so he's trying to fit in.
Also, I think the explanation that has to come from it, right? And Pochettino, when he released the roster, he didn't have a press conference, so no one could really ask him about it. I think it's on Friday. But the idea here is that he did this again. He had to fake a name to join a amateur beer league soccer team
Indoor.
Indoor, of which, like you said, his team sucked. It was like a guy who was on a Major League Soccer roster was on a beer league soccer team, and that beer league soccer team could not get past eighth place. That is why conduct detrimental to the league came in, because man, you can't, like, as a league, you can't stand for that. You can't have a guy have to fake his name just to suck on a beer league team and then come back and be like, oh, my bad. Like, I know I was supposed to do that, but I just really wanted to play soccer and I wasn't doing it over here.
Yeah, allegedly his team did, when he was playing with us in that beer league, they did not win any of the games he played in.
Yeah, they didn't win any games, and like that's especially indoor. That is a challenge to do that, and like as someone who plays on a bad indoor or bad rec soccer team,
Yes.
one player can make a difference. So like he had to be ass,
Or the team was that bad.
We like you
See.
have beer league teams that they have one player who's clearly a ringer, clearly like levels above everybody else, and they show up and they do this whole like, oh, I'm Jim, like I just play a little soccer here and there, and then all of a sudden they're scoring goals from midfield with their left foot behind their back doing trick shots, and you're like, yo, man, I recognize who you are. You're not Jim. You're Leo Messi. You play on the big fields. You play on the international team. What are you doing here? It's very quick to spot him in these leagues. So the fact that he was able to do this for so long until he literally crashed out is amazing to me.
Yeah, and now he, in line for his first cap.
I will after if he doesn't find a club, I will extend the offer to join the illustrious 14 beers at Chili's FC.
Listen,
of which the jerseys are fire.
Massive club. Absolutely massive club.
Yeah, put the jerseys on sale. Drop the jerseys.
All right, so good luck to Matko and good luck to his teammates, keeping him in line down in Florida. Other news going on. Costa Rica's got a new coach, huh, Jonathan?
Yeah. And it's a familiar face, I think, for everybody. Within an old friend. And I was looking through. So Miguel Herrera, for those probably familiar, will remember his time coaching Mexico from 2013 to 2014 or 15, including his antics. I would say during the 2014 World Cup, which like when I was going through this, I was like, surely he's been the Mexico coach more recently than that. But it's been a decade. But yeah, no, he's going to be taking over for the RF, so the Costa Rican Football Federation. He's going to be coming in. He's expected to be on the sidelines for in the coming days, and he'll be when Costa Rica plays the United States on July 22nd. He'll be there.
In January.
January, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
July would be a long time away. I think it's absolutely incredible that he has found himself in such a prime position. Like, the World Cup is next year. Costa Rica's got a really good shot to qualify. The man is just going to show up and go to another World Cup, as long as Costa Rica is not a massive tire fire, which we'll see once qualifying really gets going.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see. I know that Costa Rica has been going through the transition in generations, really, like in this last 2 years. So it'll be interesting to see how he, is he able to take advantage of that? Do we maybe see some older faces? Like I'm sure Joel Campbell is still doing something. But yeah, no, so it'll be interesting to see.
It's and also like since Mexico, right? You said he's been out of the international game for a decade, but he has been pretty successful in Liga MX, and I think there was a couple times when the amount of times that Mexico has changed their coaches is like it feels like every 4 months. But every single time since then that someone has been fired, he has been rumored to be one of the guys that could come in as a replacement. They just opt to go with someone else, and you know how Mexico likes to retread coaches. But since then, he's been at Club Tijuana twice. He's been at Club America, most famously, and Tigres. So he's been at some big, some of the biggest clubs in Mexico, including, Club America, who is arguably the biggest club in North America. But yeah, this is interesting that he's going to take over Costa Rica, and like you said, at this prime moment, that if he can get them to a World Cup, like he's set for a long time.
Yeah. Now, I do want to just throw it out there. The question is, what are the odds he actually makes it to next summer as Costa Rica's manager? Because I do want to point out that since 2014, Costa Rica has already had 10 managers. They've had 10 managers in 10 years. It's possible that, maybe Mexico calls him and is like, hey, would you rather coach us at the World Cup, or do you want to stick with Costa Rica? You might be like, see ya.
Yeah, no, I definitely. There's definitely a chance Mexico changes their coach 5 times before
right
the next World Cup.
But just solely on results for Costa Rica is.
I think from a results-based business, I expect him to come in and get results with that Costa Rica team. So as long as there's, I think the external factor would be like if like a bigger country came and said, do you want to come to the World Cup with us? But no, I expect him to be there.
I do too. And let's be real. Costa Rica, with the United States, Mexico, and Canada out, Costa Rica kind of views himself as the top team that has to qualify, right? And so if they struggle during qualifying, maybe, but I feel like they let him see that out. The only thing that I could see is if, like in the Gold Cup this summer, like Costa Rica just like gets mollywopped in several matches. Like that's the only way I think they change.
I guess
they got to qualify for it first.
I also think it is worth noting that he wasn't fired from Mexico for results. He was fired because he got in an altercation with a journalist at an airport.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, he could hand grenade this himself. So,
I can't wait to watch.
It's also worth noting he's never, like, since he left Mexico, he's never been somewhere longer than 2 years.
So, 18 months. Can he make it 18 months?
Can he make it?
Can't wait to find out. So, fun news in Costa Rica. Speaking of the Gold Cup, Donald, I think we got confirmation of the guest team this summer.
Yep, and that guest is Saudi Arabia. I think that should
Boo.
be no surprise to anybody.
Get
They are
fucked.
going to be they're going to be a guest team in 2025 and 2027, similar to what they did with Qatar in 2021 and 23. Of course, Saudi Arabia is getting the 2034 World Cup in what was uh, a
The
bidless
checks cleared.
process. Yeah,
The
Yeah, I
checks
was gonna say,
cleared.
I wonder what the similarities are between, other than hosting World Cups. I wonder what the similarities are between those two countries.
yeah. There's a couple, but mainly the other thing here's one similarity. If you remember, Qatar was the host country in 2021 and 23. I'm sorry, the host country, the guest country in 2021 and 2023, and the Gold Cup and a lot of other CONCACAF competitions were sponsored by Qatar Airways, and that was kind of the way they got in. It was a nice. They called it a partnership. Well, guess what? This is also called a partnership because that partnership is with Riyadh Air. And you're probably thinking, oh, Riyadh Air, that's that, Saudi airline. No, you're not thinking that because Riyadh Air has not yet flown a flight. Um, they debut this year. You're thinking of Saudia, which is the national airline of Saudi Arabia. This is going to be Saudi Arabia's second airline, and they are sponsoring the Gold Cup and all the other CONCACAF national and club competitions for the next few years. I'm assuming through 2027 at least, with Saudi Arabia being a part of the Gold Cup.
Yeah, that's some Man City ass inflationary
Yeah.
sponsorships.
Yeah. CONCACAF, you know, they go where it's green, as long as the check's clear, things are going to happen. So the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, they are clearly they're filling the pockets of the right people in CONCACAF. And for argument's sake, is it better for CONCACAF to have an influx of cash than to have the 16th best team play in the Confederation tournament? Knowing how that money gets dispersed, you could argue that this is actually beneficial to CONCACAF, but it's still greasy.
Yeah.
Money.
I don't
It's
I wouldn't
money.
make
It's money.
I wouldn't make that I would not be willing to agree to that. However,
Listen, hold on. If Public Investment Fund wants to sponsor this podcast, there is a price.
not for me. Not for Piff.
You
Fuck
you
Piff.
you can start your own podcast. I will take millions of dollars for this.
It's going to be called the region of CONCACAF.
Right.
Now, I will take my lawsuit money when we break apart. I will I will take that. And I'll just close I'll just close my eyes on where you guys got that money from. But
you'll get your child support.
I think that just the thing for me is this is just a reminder of what we were robbed of. Because let's think about where we were last year when there was the rumor that this Gold Cup was going to be similar to the old Confederations Cup, where we were going to see two members from the other confederations coming over here. I think that was the saddest thing, is what this officially spelled the end of that dream.
I would have settled for one from each, right? Like if you take the other confederations and you go, one from UEFA, Africa, Asia, New Zealand, and I'm blanking, South America and CONMEBOL. And then you have, so that's 15, right? You can have a extra country you throw in there.
You forgot
Let's say
Oceania.
no, I said New Zealand. Yeah,
Oh,
so
you said
but there's
New
six. CONCACAF already has teams, so
Yeah.
that's the sixth one. So you have your other five, and you throw in another guest one. Let's say, for example, it's Argentina because you want Messi in there. Cool, fine. And then you have your 10. So you have 16, or you have six guest countries, and then you have your 10 CONCACAF countries, and you make it just like Copa America essentially was.
I think it's the fact,
2020
and I think I know what
2024.
Eric's going to say.
Yeah, there's a reason this isn't happening.
It's the
And
dumbass.
It's FIFA's fault because they have the stupid fucking Club World Cup happening at the same exact time as this tournament. So Messi can't even come because Messi
that's fine.
is required to play for Inter Miami because they don't have to release players. So
No, I get that.
Argentina ain't coming.
No. That's not why all these other ones are country. I'm just saying for sake of example, right? If you were planning this, you would bring in Argentina because of Messi, and just like Inter Miami, Messi won't play. So you still have Argentina. You still have the world champion.
Right. Gianni kind of ruined this for everybody.
Yeah, but I don't think he ruined. I think he ruined individual players. But I think what he didn't want is he didn't want a Gold Cup to overshadow.
Yes.
Yeah, to overshadow the Club World Cup by bringing in all these hot teams.
Yeah.
Which it would.
Well, there's nothing you can do to overshadow the Gold Cup because this is our tournament. So this is ours. And nothing else matters except for Concacaf Nations League.
That's your dream.
Yeah. El Sueño as a horror, you know? All right.
Let's get El Sueño as muerta. The dream is dead.
Nations League like that. Let's do some postcards of the pod. We had thrown out on social media to our listeners. Thank you to all of our supporters, especially our patrons. You can subscribe at patreon.com/podcacaf. Our patrons support the podcast. We really appreciate you. In fact, we do our one more round bonus episodes that you can find on that Patreon. We might even have questions that we talk about on that one more round that comes soon after you listen to this. So go to our Patreon, patreon.com/podcacaf. Anyways, postcards of the pod. Beautiful messages from around the world. So let's go through these. At the 94th minute asks, hypothetically, which U.S. state would have the best starting 11 if you chose players from just that state, and would they win the glorious Nations League or Gold Cup? I'm going to jump ahead and grab the second part of that question. No, one state could not.
I mean, yeah, you're going to struggle to find.
You're going to struggle at. But guys, what's your thoughts on this?
I think the answer is New York. And yeah, they actually could compete for it because you got Tyler Adams, you got Tim Weah, you got Yunus Musa, you got Gio Reyna, you got Flair Balogun.
Gio was not born in New York.
Gio
was
it's not
just in England.
Hang out.
Was he cap tied to New York?
Hang on. We're not talking about guys who were just born there. We're talking about guys who spent time there, right? Because
Slippery slope.
No, it could be, but I mean, Gio Reyna moved there when he was like 4. So like,
does he have a New York passport?
Does he have a New York passport? Probably. He was in the NYCFC system, right? So I think that counts. Flair Balogun,
we definitely know he's got a EU passport too.
Right. He was born there. Jack McGlynn was born there. Joe Scally's from there. Mark McKenzie is from Brooklyn. I'm sorry, from the Bronx, and then James Sands obviously is from there. So like, you have some guys that are good from New York. But the question, that's why I wanted to kind of debate this before, because it's like, is it just people who are born there? Because if so, Washington D.C. has a lot of guys who were born here who may have lived elsewhere. So it's that's the kind of dichotomy of the thing you have to kind of debate beforehand.
I think Texas would put up a solid squad.
I mean, and then historically, if like we look at all time, I think there's 4 or 5 states that would compete. It's California, New York, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, maybe Texas.
Yeah.
Georgia, ironically has a lot of guys who were born there.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot to think about there and trying to figure out who gets to claim who, but such is soccer. Thanks for the question. Let's go to at SPK_Ultra. Which CONCACAF nation would you support if it was not for the USA?
Eric would be a Canada fan. We know
that.
No,
my answer was literally going to be anyone who is playing Canada. Unless they're playing Mexico, in that case, I want no one to win. No, I think you got to go an island. You're picking like a mid to lower range island that is just aspiring for anything.
I'd just be a big Jamaica guy.
Can you imagine being an Anguilla fan and seeing that first win in like 20 years and just being able to like be exhilarated by that more than we already were? But just like that's my team. I would love to have that kind of moment.
I mean, this is kind of like a question of like, oh, if your EPL team went away, which EPL team you support? Would you support one of the big clubs? Would you support a team that's struggling to make it, or would you support a team that's going to fluctuate between the top flight and the championship every year? I think you kind of the Jamaica is kind of like, yeah, that's that team who's always going to be kind of among the best, but you're not really
You're gonna have
expecting to
some
be.
bad years. They're gonna make the good years
Yeah,
feel good.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
And you have that dream of like getting back to a World Cup because you
and
actually
you
have
get good
been.
jerseys because I mean
You have great jerseys.
I'm factoring kits and everything into
Yeah.
this too.
Style
Yeah,
Like,
matters.
yeah.
All right. SPK Ultra has had another question as well. What are you looking most forward to at the World Cup in 2026 in North America?
How much weight I'm gonna lose because all the money that I spend on the World Cup tickets are gonna lighten my pockets very quickly.
I
I
mean,
mean,
go ahead,
I
Jonathan.
think for me it's just I'm looking forward to hopefully catching a couple games. I've never it's just never worked out for me to go to a World Cup just because of just different shit in life. But yeah, no, I think that's attending a World Cup game is gonna be big.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to going to a game. It's a World Cup. Like
Yeah.
nothing beat as much as I love Nations League, like people don't respect it. People respect the World Cup. So all eyes being on it, people really being into it that summer is gonna be a lot of fun. But what am I
And
looking most forward to in that World Cup? Is it being over? Because it's stupid that we're hosting it. I'd rather not be here. I want to go somewhere else.
well, I was gonna say that for those who are not like us, right, who don't get to travel all over Concacaf, this is likely the last World Cup in our lifetime that will be here, like where we will be able to really fully enjoy it the way that you need to enjoy
I
a World
mean,
Cup.
because the world won't exist anymore, or America
Right.
may
Well,
not
first
exist
off, we'll be on
anymore.
the moon.
Well,
But no, I mean, look, look, I'm 42. Like the
Mhm.
next, it's not coming in 10 years. It's not coming in 20 years. So we're talking about me having to wait till I'm like
once
70 maybe to
I
come
mean,
back.
once they see the revenue coming in from this, like as much as the oil money in the Middle East might be claiming some World Cups down the line, like the actual pure revenue from this will be unmatched from any tournament ever anywhere else in the world. Like there's no tournament that's going to make more money than this one. So I would expect within, and it might be another shared tournament, but this will not be the last one US holds in the next 30 years. They are going to get another one sooner than any of us would expect.
But we're already looking at 2034 is already decided. So we're looking at 2038, which is 13 years from now. So we're
Yeah.
still, I mean, we're getting to the point where again, like for people like us, this is the last time where I'm not saying the last time when we can go to one. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
last time that we can fully enjoy one the way that we can enjoy with no life responsibilities, full, decent health, right? Like that sort
Eh.
of thing. I said decent, I didn't say good, like varying grades. But like for people who are in their 20s, stuff like that, I know it's expensive, but go to it because again, the next time it comes, you might be 50, you might be 40. You may have different things in life that will preclude you from taking advantage of this opportunity again.
Yeah,
That's how I see
no,
it.
I would definitely say like talking to the people that we know that are a little bit older than us, that like were in their 20s when 94 rolled around, and like hearing them talk about it, like yeah, if you're on the fence, shirk your responsibilities, go into debt, do the goddamn thing.
Yes.
Go, yeah, we're not telling you to go to the whole tournament. Go
Yeah.
to Just pick a game. Doesn't even have to be a US game. Pick a game in the city that's nearest you. Ticket or the ticket that you can find that's the cheapest. That's really probably the best answer. Find the ticket that's the cheapest, and if it's Tunisia versus Oman, go to it. It's the World Cup is gonna be wild, and the fact that it's here, you're gonna look back. I did not go to '94, and I look back and go, man, I was living in Detroit. I had just moved to Dallas. There was games, U.S. games in both of those towns, and I didn't get to go to either one of them because I was on summer break with my family and that wasn't a priority. This time is going to be a priority. So take advantage of it.
Yeah. We will all try and take advantage of it. Thanks everyone who submitted some questions. We've got a couple more that we'll probably get to in our one more round bonus episode. So make sure you subscribe to our Patreon and listen there. We really appreciate your support, helping us do this podcast thing when we can. Donald, where can people find you?
You can find me at BlazingDW. I'm mostly on Blue Sky and Instagram at this point.
Yes. Jonathan?
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky at JSleep.
Yes. Podcacaf.bluesky.social. We're kind of focusing on that because, fuck Elon Musk. So we are going to focus on that. And hope you follow us there. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with another episode coming soon.